during GMA Atlanta. But here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have the red Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle. Just took down his previous opponent 2-0, looking to do the same. Can he pull it off? It is Wayne. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. MaNa. I see the chat. Should have played Protoss. This is what happens when Light makes you play ZVZ. Play Terran. You had him. But here we go. Yo, fun fact though, today, Eba's Terran had a 100% win rate. Just saying, just saying. Beautiful. Catching up. But yeah, from here we have our standard opener out of Wayne. Now, when it comes to ZVP, Wayne typically does thrive in the mid-game. He's a very aggressive player in said mid-game, willing to try to rush into mutas if given an opportunity, or max out early on at a low drone count with Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager hitting this early timings. Wayne is very much so in your face, as we saw in the last ZVZ, where Wayne, he just, wants to be in the driver's seat. Meanwhile, MaNa can also be very unpredictable. That's the power of MaNa. I also want to say something similar about him. MaNa isn't as aggressive as Wayne, true, but he still does thrive in the mid game as well and has many different builds up his sleeve. Many different builds, many different openers. Yeah, MaNa been around for a very long time, and I'm ready to bear witness as we do have a Stargate opener out of MaNa. Now, with a Stargate opener, we have options. We can go for an Oracle, a Phoenix, or a Void Ray. They all have their own purposes, their own uses, their own value that they add here in a Protoss versus Zerg matchup. Oracles are going to be more economic. They allow you to establish your third base. They allow you to harass across the map, keep tabs on your opponent scouting-wise, and yeah, just kind of get a safe way to get into the mid-game, I should say. Meanwhile, the other options is we could try to go for something like a Void Ray or a Phoenix. The power of both of those units is that we can shoot up, and more importantly, we can shut down these Overlords. If we shut down the Overlords, then the Zerg player is going to be in the dark as to what comes next and what tech the Protoss decides to hide. Meanwhile, Adept is going to be trading with some of these things, but does get shut down. We have our first unit of choice. It's going to be an Oracle, so we don't have to speculate about Void Rays or Phoenixes, not any longer. This is going to be a standard economic opener out of MaNa. Should be Oracle into a third into triple Oracle production. So a very standard, very meta way to play here from MaNa. There's that second Oracle in production. We can see Wayne being very active, trying to delay that third base for as long as he can. Links have arrived, and MaNa has the option to expand at the linear third base or the triangular third instead. We'll see what kind of direction he goes in. Wayne, of course, lying in wait to delay that expansion for as long as he can, and Probe is moving out. Adepts are in position, and Wayne can try to focus on that Probe. He's going for it. Oh, goes for the Stalker. Stalker, Adept. And will be able to get on top of this Adept. Pretty good pick off. At the same time, Oracle gets into the main base. Queens are in position, though. We get 2 drones. 2 workers go down, but that is quite a bit of hull damage dealt to MaNa. Third Oracle back at home. Sorry, second Oracle back at home does clean up those lings, which means MaNa can expand. Third base is on the way. Adepts are moving out. Oracle as well. And now MaNa is looking for some more economic damage. This time, of course, with additional units. This time, it's going to be on Wayne to bring together his lings, not just his queens. There's that revelation here on that tumor. Adepts do not come into the shade. Oracle's going to be threatening a dive towards that third base. Spore isn't done, so Wayne has to make sure he's in position. Speaking of, there's a Spore in the main base, a Spore at the natural, Spore on the way at the third, and we have our Roach Warren. A very late Roach Warren, around 5-minute Roach Warren timing. which is standard against a Stargate opener. So that tells us that Wayne, again, doesn't really intend on being aggressive. He's just getting into the mid game. As we do get another 2 workers. So do get another 2 workers here. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, the Adepts get caught out. Big catch here from Wayne. He gets 1, 2, 3 Adepts, and the Oracles were just a couple of seconds too late. They could not support. They could not be there to save those Adepts. Things they get across the map. We're going to be able to focus down another probe. Nothing too major, just 1 worker at a time. We have our transition. It's going to be a Twilight Council and a Forge, +1 and Blink on the way for MaNa. Third base getting saturated. This looking like, again, very standard play. We have 4 gates, 6 gates in total, but this looks like a very defensive style. I wouldn't be surprised if MaNa throws down a second robo, or is actually additional robos, doesn't have any yet. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for robos into a Bay, into Colossus production, and goes for a tech-heavy style into a delayed 4th. Yeah, there it is, second Forge, so we're investing quite a lot into these techs, into these upgrades. Which means that MaNa doesn't really intend on pushing out with his main army. He's harassing here with a handful of Stalkers, that is true, but he's not looking to overcommit, he's not looking to really force the issue. If he were, it'd be a gamble, because if he loses his army, then he has nothing at home to defend. Speaking of, he's being very active with these Stalkers, which is nice, but on the flip side, doesn't see the move out. MaNa doesn't see the main army. Likewise, Ling's avoiding the forces here of MaNa. We're going to be ending up in a weird base trade. We're going to force a recall. Roaches and Lings, they have arrived. There's that recall here towards that third base. We have 1 shield battery behind this. We have 1 overcharge. But the Zealots do get cleaned up. Roaches, they slip into the main base. And so far, Wayne, he's just keeping these Stalkers busy, zoning them away from the main army, and probes are falling. There's going to be 7 dead workers in the natural. We catch a Stalker. Speaking of, MaNa should be able to clean up the Roaches here in the natural. At the same time, we do have the overcharge at the third. MaNa will hold. This was a costly hold, though. It cost us 7 probes. A couple of Stalkers. Wayne, though, is he bleeding out too much? He's trying to force his way into the natural. Again, did overextend. Wayne had a bit of momentum, but has thrown it away a little bit there. Wayne is backing up consolidating his army. Consolidating his forces while he gets a 4th up and running, droning well underway. Wayne is trying to drone up now. The downside here is that MaNa's economy is still looking quite powerful. 61 probes. Arguably, MaNa has a better economy than his opponent. Big cancel here at the 4th. At the same time, the Lynx Roaches, they get into the 3rd. Oh, we're trying to break through, but last we barely cannot. As Wayne does force back that army, and at least he has contained his opponent to 3 bases once again. This 4th of MaNa is so very delayed. It's so late here. So even though MaNa technically has a higher worker count, or at least solid saturation here at his 3rd, he's oversaturated. He's not really mining efficiently here, despite having a better economy, or what would be a better worker count compared to Wayne. Meanwhile, Wayne is teching. We have the Hydra Den on the way, +1 range. Do we have the Infestation Pit? We do not. So no pit yet. That should be up next here for Wayne. So he's moving out at the same time. The Oracles, they go ham. We invested into a 4th Oracle. 7 workers go down. At the same time, another cancel in the 4th. Time and time again, that's what, the 3rd cancel? MaNa just can't expand. And this is going to be hurting him here. MaNa, he's getting into double Robo Colossus production, as we mentioned before. But he needs an economy to sustain this. Otherwise, he just can't produce. MaNa's road to maxing out is going to be a brutal one. We do have Zealots here towards the left-hand side, threatening a dive. Adepts engaging in the center of the map as well with the Ling Roach. So far doing well kiting against it. The Oracles as well punishing this, but here come the Hydras. Again, I spoke about how, is Wayne going to be going into Hydra Lurker Viper? The answer is no. The answer is that purely Hydra Roach here from Wayne, pushing up towards the 3rd base. MaNa, with a crippled economy, has been barely able to sustain himself, and it looks like this may just be too much. But good blinks. Really good blinks here out of MaNa, and we are running out of roaches. The roaches are getting picked off one after the other. Does MaNa barely have enough? It's going to be close. He's bleeding out too many stalkers. The stalkers are going down. The hydras are breaking through. Additional stalkers are being warped in. And it looks like we can maybe barely force this back. But Wayne did trade well. Did trade well. That was, what, 4 dead hydras, a couple of dead roaches. Decent chunk of dead roaches, but for probes, stalkers. MaNa does establish his fort. That did occur here amidst all this defense. Fort does get back up and running. Wayne, though, he knows he has to do something about it. We do have a couple of Novas. Up. First Nova will not connect. Cannon going to be going down. Disruptor's trying to get in position. We dive on top of the Disruptor. We get one. I said we get one. Yeah, we get one. We get 2. Oh, second Disruptor does barely escape. We can see Wayne trying to start a step forward here on top of the main army. We finally have the 4th base, but it's not going to get fully saturated. It's not going to get mining as the Nexus is going to fall. Never goes off. It's easy connection. That's going to be a kill on the Nexus. A kill on the 4th. For the 4th time? Maybe the 5th time? I've lost count at this point. It's too late for counting, Poppy. It's too late. It's 11 dead workers. The denial on the 4th. MaNa, again, just can't really saturate his bases. Cannot really sustain his own production. That's why MaNa is falling further and further behind here in the army sizes. Meanwhile, Wayne has been chilling almost this entire game. Earlier, like a minute or so ago, we did see Oracles harassing a mineral line, which was good. But what about the golds? What about the rest of the saturation here? As long as we have a couple of spore crawlers, Wayne should be okay. Meanwhile, charge dots into that pocket base or into the natural, forcing Wayne out of position. Wayne was out of position, does pull back. There's that Hive, there's that Lunker Den, so Wayne working towards Hydra Lurker Viper. Does he need it? We'll see. With this many disruptors, yeah, we do. 100%. Wayne is maxed, but pushing into 4 disruptors is terrifying for anyone, but we're going for...
Game paused.
Ooh. We do have a bit of lag. Oh, good. We're just going to be waiting to clear it up. But yeah, we're going straight for the Nexus. Nexus is like, what, 1, 2 volleys away from going down. MaNa going to try to engage. Last looks like we are just experiencing a little bit of latency. And hopefully it does clear up. Once it does, we can, of course, get back into this and get back into our first game. Again, Wayne has maxed out. Just to quickly go over the kind of game state here, Wayne is taking up into Hive Tech, into eventually Lurker production. He's not there yet, though. He is maxed out on a Roach Hydra-based composition, but maxed. So he's going to be pushing towards the 3rd base of MaNa. MaNa is ready with 4 Disruptors, 2 Colossi. The first Nova did go off. I believe we have 3 more Novas in the chamber, and here we go. We're loading back in. The Nexus does go down. Nova goes off. So far, does not connect. 3rd Nova will connect here with those Hydras. But again, after killing the Nexus, we can get the hell out of there. We can back off. We can retreat. And Wayne does just that. And he can just keep doing this over and over again. Just rock up at the 4th, at the new 4th, at the 4th once again. Maybe the 3rd 4th. That is Wayne's win condition here. MaNa could be pushing right through the center. He does have those 4 disruptors. Like, his main army is looking quite imposing. But the Lunkers! The Lunkers have arrived. Nova's going to be going up. We take down 1 Lurker. Wolfrism sipping into the main base. Zealots getting a bit out of hand. It's going to be going off. Big connection here on the Hydra. Oh my god. Wayne having a really hard time engaging here without Vipers, and that's what we've been really missing. How many Vipers do we have? One so far, soon to be 2 Vipers, and with them we can of course abduct the Disruptors, abduct the Colossi, abduct the Archons, abduct everything, and then Wayne can just pick apart that army. But you can see that MaNa is recovering. Now MaNa's on 4 base economy, soon getting a 5th as well. Like MaNa, he may have had a really hard early to mid game, but now he is stabilizing, which is a scary thing for Wayne. Wayne, on the one hand, doesn't want to do anything, but if he doesn't attack, then MaNa closes the distance. See Wayne trying to get ready for a surround. There it goes up, another Lurker falls. Another Hydra as well. Meanwhile, we're going for the Dive Novas. They will be connecting. Big connection. Blinding Clouds are thrown. Now we do abduct and yoink one of those Colossi, but only one. And Wayne bled out so much in that trade. Bled out so much in that fight. 69 drones going, sorry, 69 roaches going down. Nice. Couple of Ravagers, couple of Lurkers. We can see that Wayne is trying to refine his army, but MaNa did fight well. But can he hold on to this Nexus? Can he hold on here, as the base does take a bit of damage, but we're going to be able to rotate over and force this back. At the same time, this Nexus on the right-hand side looking very vulnerable, and Wayne is pushing in. Uh-oh. You do have 3 Disruptors in position. Novus go up. Ooh, big connections. We do take down a good chunk of Lurkers. But despite that, Wayne is in position. This Nexus will fall. At the same time, MaNa is pushing. He doesn't care. Doesn't care about his 3rd base. He wants the... what is this? 5th? The 5th hatchery here of Wayne. Novus once again going to be connecting. We have Storms. We do have plenty of Storms available here. Wayne going to be losing an entire base. At the same time, he's diving on top of those Disruptors. He wants them. He's going to get them as well. I believe he gets 2. Zoning away that army, forcing a recall. MaNa does make it back home in time. Did lose a base, but as he recalled towards the right-hand side, we have Wayne pushing towards the left. I love that Wayne, he continues to go for these split pushes. Continues to try to pull apart the attention of MaNa. And with this, Wayne will get a kill on this base, and will get on top of these probes. MaNa is pretty committed. What's our army looking like? We have 8 Immortals. That's a lot of Immortals. We've got 1 Colossus, 1 Archon, a handful of Disruptors, 9 High Templar. So it's mainly the Colossi and High Templar that are really the threat for Wayne. And I can see MaNa winning a fight, but here we go. We're diving on top of the army. Lightning Clouds are thrown down. Big Storms. Nova goes off as well. Oh my god. Wayne having a brutal fight. That was not the fight to take. And MaNa's bringing it, he's bringing it back. MaNa, he is bringing it back here. Pushing right through the middle once again. Let's go off. They take down a Lunker. Static defense under fire. Pushing and getting into the goal base. Wayne trying to set up a bit of a surround here. Boys are being pulled. Boys are going down. The Lunkers come in. Big spine shots in the High Templar. They're all going to go down. Massive volleys here from Wayne. He catches out the army. He takes down the Colossus. And now there's almost nothing left. And MaNa may have killed a hatchery, may have killed the gold base, but that pales in comparison to what MaNa just lost. Ay, ay, ay. And with that, what does MaNa have left? He's on 3 bases. We have a 4th and a 5th on the way. He's double expanding. He desperately needs to double expand. The High Templar would just morphed in. We need time. Time for energy. And Wayne is going to give MaNa a bit of time. He's going to be soaking it in for a moment here, waiting for another wave of 6 Lurkers before pushing out. Meanwhile, Lurker harass here, denying mining. Only a single Lurker. Supplies are still pretty close. Something important to bear in mind is that even though Wayne has done a great job at harassing, he also did lose some bases, and Wayne hasn't been droning. Wayne has a very low worker count here. High Templar have been spotted. Wayne making a choice. Does he collapse on this position, or does he ignore it and go elsewhere? Again, there's High Templar everywhere at this point. And the Lings, they can dive on top of them. They force out one of their storms. Nice splits here from Wayne. Feedbacks, they do connect with his lurkers, but the lurkers, they're going to be able to borrow. They do borrow. They get on top of the High Templar. GG gets called, and Wayne will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Whew, that was a bit of a close one. Did go back and forth there between our players. There were moments for both Wayne and MaNa, but in the end, Wayne was, again, denying the 4th base for that much longer from his opponent. And we're getting into game number 2. And it looks like we're being joined by some of the other casters. Looks like some of the other casters are going to be joining us here for this series. I'm curious if some of the other matches have wrapped up and where this is going to be taking us. Yeah, a lot of the round of 32 is wrapping up here. And Clem is waiting for the winner of this series. He is lying in wait. Here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have the red Zerg player representing Starlight Twinkle. It is Wayne. And spawning in the I just saw the chat. Spawning in the bottom of the head corner, we have our Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. Go. As we are settling on into this. Again, MaNa setting up for a gate expand. Likewise, Wayne going for a hatch gas pull. Forsake the unnatural natural, but should be a standard opener from our Zerg player. Likewise, standard opener from our Protoss. Like there's no early gas, there's no early pull, no early aggression. Not yet, at least. Not yet. Settling. The secret of MaNa. Isn't there like a new secret of MaNa coming out? Am I crazy? Was that announced? That was like announced at like the Video Game Awards ? Something like that. God. That just makes me want to play Chrono Trigger again. You know what I never played? I never played Chrono Cross. Never played that. That was before my time. I mean, I say before my time. I played Chrono Trigger in the early 2000s on an emulator, SNES emulator. Good stuff. Good stuff. My childhood. Here we go. For the time being, again, we're just keeping an eye on things. MaNa being as annoying as possible. With this probe, we do force out a couple of Lings. We can throw down a pylon. We can try to buy some time for the Adepts as they're going to be zooming across the map. There are things we can try to piece together here, but the Lings have arrived, and this probe is going to be forced back. We should be able to expand and take our 3rd base without too much issue. Hatchery has been taken. Probe is being forced back. From here, we have our tech of choice. Once again, MaNa going for a Stargate opener. And we saw this last game. Last game, it was a triple Oracle opener into a 3rd base, into +1 Blink Stalkers. I expect to see something very similar here. It was +1 Blink Stalkers into double Robo Colossi production. The problem with the previous game, if you remember, is that MaNa was never able to establish his fourth. Without a fourth, he could never actually really afford double rover production and get into his own economy and get into his own army composition. MaNa had a couple of moments last game, don't get me wrong, but again, what really did kill MaNa was the fact that he lost his fourth like 4 times. It was crazy how often MaNa could not get this base up and running. I say this base, not the third, but the fourth. Wayne was just all over here. So we'll see if MaNa has a little bit more success here on a map like Hecate. Oracle has arrived, third base is on the way, we have the second Oracle in production, we should be seeing a third Oracle behind this as well. Now, even though this looks the same as the previous game, it doesn't have to be. We can go from here into a Forge and a Twilight Council could be +1 Charge Archon instead of +1 Blink Stalkers. We can head into Charge. We can go for a more tech-heavy composition and delay the Twilight Council, go Forge Robo instead for faster Immortals. We'll see. As for now, it is looking the same and it is looking normal. That is going to be the Twilight Council and the Forge for +1 and I imagine Blink. So far, everything looking quite similar to Game 1. So far. See if that's going to be the case. We do have double Oracle dipping into that main base. A couple of drone kills. I say a couple, 4 worker kills. Oh, but we lose an Oracle. Ay, big overextension from MaNa. Not like this. Initially it was looking good, but yeah, losing an Oracle for 4 drones, not worth it. Not worth it whatsoever. Oracle's going to have to be rebuilt. We dive in once again. This time we get 2 more drones for quite a bit of hull damage. Blink is on the way, so we're not going into Charge of Archon. Meanwhile, Wayne being as active as possible here. Threatening those probes. There's that gateway explosion. Wayne investing into +1 melee, into Banelings. This could be Lingbane into Hydra, or just delayed Roaches. Regardless, Lingbane is going to be amassing here for Wayne. And this looks like the same playstyle at MaNa, where he's got a handful of gateways on the way with the Robo. This should be leading into a bay, should be then leading into a fourth, into that 4th Nexus. But can MaNa actually hold on to it? Again, Wayne has made a lot of Lings. A lot of Lings have come out. Expanding is going to be so difficult here for the Protoss. Oh, so difficult. As Lings have arrived, they threaten the 3rd. We don't commit, but we don't have to commit. We just have to contain. That's the name of the game here. That's the win condition for Wayne. There's that Roach Warren. A bit of a delayed Roach Warren, but it's on the way nonetheless. Lair in production, +1 range as well. And this entire time we've just been stuck. There's that second Robo. There's the Robotics Bay. Now, double Robo Colossus production is good and all, don't get me wrong, but again, we need an economy to sustain this. But as we're settling into a 3 bases and soon a 4th base, I'm now a little bit worried for Wayne. If MaNa can successfully defend Turtle and take this 4th without any issue, then Wayne is falling behind tech-wise. His opponent would be able to keep up with the economy of Wayne, and Wayne hasn't really been droning too much. Does have a 4th and 5th base on the way. He is now droning and saturating, this is true, but he has no Infestation Bit for Hive Tech, he has no Hydrogen, he has no Lurker Den. He's still stuck with Hydra Lurker Viper, very much so mid-game composition. The longer this goes on, the more Wayne will be outscaled by MaNa. And so far, good control here from our Polish Protoss player. Dancing back with those Lings. Colossi production well underway. Wayne gonna try and go for a counterattack, but back at home there is a full wall. We could maybe deny the 4th. The 4th has been spotted. At the same time, Wayne trying to get us around on this army. Yeah, it does force a recall. Big stasis trap as well. MaNa does get the hell out of there. Recalls back home, but this is what's important. The 4th. We saw that the lack of 4th killed MaNa in game number 1. This time he is holding. This time he is holding on. additional Colossi production well underway. Thus, they have arrived, going to be dropping into the main base, but they're going to be shut down. The Prism, unfortunately, unable to reinforce those Zealots. Wayne, he's soon looking to max out here. Lingbane Roach Ravager, a mid-tier composition that is true. Mid-game composition, but he's looking to collapse on this base. Rushing him forward, he's going for the Colossi. Up! He's going to get one. Force fields are okay, but they do not slow down enough. They don't slow down the Roach Ravager, they don't slow down the Baileys. As we get one Colossus, now we're going for the other, and we will get both. Both Colossi go down, we crash into the ground army. Another Colossi has popped up just in time. We have the overcharge, and MaNa is holding. MaNa does hold. It was a brutal trade. Wayne lost a lot of Lingbane. It was not worth it. I mean, I say that. Did kill 2 Colossi, that's true, but he didn't kill the 4th, and he didn't kill the 3rd. He didn't break the bases here of his opponent, but behind this, Wayne droned up to 80. That's what's important. That's what's good here for the Zerg, is that he now has a solid economy. Now, Infestation. Infestation is on the way. Should be seeing a Hydrogen, Hive Tech, Adrenal, all things Zerg. We're working on it. We're getting there. Meanwhile, MaNa does get his 4th. His 4th is now up and running, soon to be fully operational. Stalkers, they dip in, they shave off a couple of Lings. At the same time, Roach is here on the right hand side. Can we get on top of the Colossus? I don't think we can. Yeah, we don't have enough Roaches. Don't have enough firepower. Where's the Hydrogen, by the way? Wayne's still committing here with Lingbane Roach Ravager, or just Lingbane Roach. And we collapse on top of the army. But this feels like an overextension. Yeah, big overextension here from Wayne, and this may just trigger a counterattack. And if it does, Wayne can't deal with this. He cannot deal with this many Stalkers and Colossi. Yeah, Wayne just stuck on this army for far too long, and he has been outscaled. And here we go, MaNa knocking down these rocks. He's pushing across the map, and I don't know if Wayne can stop this army. I don't think that Wayne can stop this army. He's gonna try though. Stasis traps are thrown down. We have 4 Colossi, soon to be even more than that. Bailey's going to be rolling on in. Stasis trap does catch so many of them. Oh my god, once again. And MaNa, he's having his way with this army. Snowballing out of control, diving on top of the hatchery as well, getting on top of the Roaches, and Wayne just cannot contest with this. Not anymore. Boys are being pulled, but they get annihilated. They get roasted by the Colossi. Another Stasis trap goes off. Things they coming from behind. They get on top of the Colossus. Oh, they get 1. They get 2, 3. Big pickups. We do shave off some of those Colossi. But it's still so much damage. At the same time, Zealots and even more reinforcements pushing towards the left-hand side. We do come across the base. GG gets called. It becomes too much. And MaNa does fight back. We are going to the ace match. Let's go. GG, well played. Again, Wayne, he was just a little bit too stubborn, maybe overconfident. There's a couple of different ways that you can look at it, but we kind of pointed it out. And during that game, again, Wayne, he was just so committed to Lingbane Roach Ravager, refusing to take up, refusing to head in another direction. Using it to tech in another direction, and because of that, he was just kind of stuck with this mid-tier army, and yeah, with that MaNa was able to snowball out of control, eventually just weathering the storm, absorbing all these attacks, absorbing all these blows, and then having a big moment, counterattacking with 4 Colossi. And yeah, Wayne just could not deal with it, not anymore, not with that. Now we're settling into the ace match. Regardless of how this turns out, it all ends here in game number 3. Let's go. All ends in game 3. And, ooh, interesting map. We're going to be loading into Oceanborn, a much smaller map compared to what we've seen. Smaller compared to Alkionis, smaller compared to Hecate. And this could work in favor of an aggressive player. An aggressive player like this one. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our red Zerg player representing Starlight's Winkle being forced into the ace match. It is Wayne. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And the sun has risen. It is 5:30 in the morning here. I can see the sun rising over the horizon. It's terrifying. Get it out of here. Who needs vitamin D? Copium. Oh my god. The night has been progressing. Now turning into the day. Let's go. And I'm looking forward to this as, ooh, Wayne going for a proxy hatch, doing his best dark impression. Now, bear in mind, this is not an all-in. Wayne is going hatch into, oh, I was going to say into hatchery, never mind. He's going to be going for a hatch gas pool opener. Okay, something a little bit more aggressive here. We'll see how Wayne, if he commits. We'll see if he commits to this and how he does approach this overall. Probe from MaNa should be throwing down a pylon just to delay the expansion, just to be a bit of a nuisance. And this hatchery here should not be finished. It should be cancelled by Wayne. Again, just trying to force out a zealot, force a couple of extra workers off the mineral line to delay the expansion. Pylon has been thrown down, and yeah, Wayne forced to take the unnatural natural instead as the second base. So I'm curious if we're going to let this finish, actually. Just because of the faster gas and the faster spawning pool, I'm still not convinced one way or the other, like how aggressive Wayne wants to be. And yep, he does let it finish. Let's go. Lings are on the way. Queens as well. Remember, because of the gas follow-up here, we already have Ling speed on the way. We're staying in gas. This could lead into either roaches or a Bailey nest. Staying in gas here is something that is not seen too often whatsoever. Oh boy. Here we go. There it is. Hatchery is going to be going down. Dell's getting a lot of damage done. The Lings have arrived. We're going to be able to use the Broodlings as well to try and get on top of some of these Zealots. But the Broodlings, they do not do any damage here. Just chip away the shields, but not much else. And the MaNa, he's cleaning this up nicely. And there it is. I was curious. I mentioned before that we stayed in gas, and if we stay in gas this early on, it has to be for a reason. I assumed it would be roaches, but it is going to be a Bane bust. Wayne is going all in. One way or the other, this game will end. Now, for MaNa, this is a risky maneuver. He is moving out with his army. 2 Zealots as well as 2 Adepts. He'll be moving out across the map. And Wayne is amassing Lings. Ling speed is about to finish up. MaNa, he did scout the main base. He should be aware of the earlier gases. He should be aware of the earlier Ling speed, but I am concerned. I am going to be concerned here. As we have more Lings on the way, we're going to be forcing a recall here as MaNa is about to be caught out. And Lings, they do dive on this army. We do catch at least the Zealots, but the Adepts, they will shade away. Void Ray in production. I love this here. Void Rays offensively. The Baileys, they roll in. The Baileys do waddle in and they do collapse on the Adepts. They opt to go for the Adepts instead of the Pylon, just to limit the DPS that, of course, MaNa has available. The wall is on the way. Void Ray halfway done. But the Lings, they knock down the gateway. They shut down the production. And they will break into the natural. Even if the Void Ray comes out, the Void Ray takes so long to kill Lings. And the writing may just be on the wall here. MaNa trying to expand behind this. Only had 1 gateway as well. Barely an army. Cybercore goes down. It's going to be a kill, not a cancel. The Pylon as well. And now we're waddling on in. We get into the main base. Probes are falling. Bailings are waddling in as well. We've got target firing. Both Bailings, or all Bailings will be focused down. But we're still just flooding Lings. Behind this, Wayne is finally droning. Looks like he has recognized that he should be able to get a kill in this space. The boys! Oh god! The boys are being pulled into Lings! Ay, ay, ay! And MaNa may save the base, but was that worth it? And can he even save the base? As Wayne, he goes back to the natural, gets us around here on the Nexus, and he should get a kill. Boys are pulled once again, but we can't, it's not possible, we can't save it! Not MaNa! We cannot save the Nexus. From here, Wayne is in a decent position. He's working on a third. He's up in workers. Queens are on the way. There is potential with this Void Ray counterattack. They can shut down Overlords. But as long as we have, I want to say, 3 queens in between the bases, then we should be okay. How many queens do we have? We have 2 queens. Ooh, not too many. 2 queens, soon to be 4, as the 3rd and 4th queen are in production. Spores are finishing up. And 2 Void Rays and a Dream is what MaNa has right now. Can we pull off a miracle? Can we bring it back? Can we pull this off? Now, I have seen a Protoss player win with 2 Void Rays before. This has happened. Unfortunately. I think it was on Altitude. I think it was Starduck versus Ender, if I remember correctly. It's a clown fiesta of a game. But a game that I will always remember as we dive on top of the queens here. 3 Void Rays. They will be able to take down 3 queens. Cross Transfuse. Ooh, Cross Transfuse here from Wayne, keeping his queens alive. We'll be losing 1. But likewise, the Void Rays, they do stand strong. The Overlord, it tanks some hits. And Wayne is holding. Wayne does hold. Another Zealot has arrived. Oh, no links to work with though. This Zealot's going to be able to pick off a couple of workers. Good control out of Wayne. Saves his drones. Void Rays, they rotate around, looking for another pickup. But all 3 Void Rays are so low. Another Void Ray goes down. MaNa, we can't afford these losses. Not like this. Wayne getting into his lair. With this lair, we could go into Spire and go Mass Muta. That is a viable option here for Wayne. I mean, he can kind of do whatever he wants at this point. Lings arrive. They deny the 3rd. Not let alone the 4th. 3rd just cannot be taken. Good control. MaNa just circling around that Zealot, saving that sentry. Nicely done here from MaNa. Slowly getting his 3rd up and running. Fleet Beacon is on the way, and this is what we need to do. Again, MaNa is up against the wall. He's in a really rough position. So what do? We cut corners. We just send it. And we're rushing into Skytoss. Because what else can we do from here? Other than going for an all-in. Border is being forced back. Hatchery is being taken. Here we go, Lings. They do get across the map here, looking to bust into that base. And to bust into the natural. Void Rays have arrived. Again, only 2 Void Rays there. They can't really achieve too much. Shield battery. We do pop the overcharge. Overcharge has been popped, keeping this pylon alive a little bit longer here as the Void Rays, they pop out just in time. The recall was pulled off. MaNa, again, minimizing his losses. Is slowly recovering. There's that Spire. Again, I really do like the Spire in this position. Even if we go Muta, even against carriers, with enough Mutas, we can do whatever we want. Can gain value. We can try at least. So there's +1 air attack on the way for the carriers. Again, just double carrier production here from MaNa. Now, Wayne can't end the game here and now yet, but because of all the freedom that he has, because of all the map control that he has, he is free to drone. Just drone on up, saturate all 4 of these bases, get into some tech, get some mutas. Can accomplish a lot here. as the game is going to be settling for just a moment. Dip in between the bases. Carriers have revealed themselves. Corrupted production has commenced. We did invest into a couple of mutas. How many mutas do we have? We have 9 mutas. Ooh, that's not too many. MaNa, can we pull this off? We do catch some of these mutas. We get 1. We get 2. 2? Oh, we get 1. These mutas get across the map, and we are woefully underprepared. No cannons, no shield batteries. Probes are going to be falling. Probes are going to be shut down. The carriers have arrived though, and it's only 3 probes. Only 3 probes for how many mutas? 3 mutas. Not a worthwhile trade here for Wayne. And again, MaNa is building up that carrier count. 4th Nexus thrown down. From here, MaNa, he's just building himself up. I do appreciate as well that he isn't just going pure Skytoss. That is a Templar Archives on the way, and that is going to be for High Templar, Storm, and Archons. Mainly Archons. They do quite well supporting this army. Behind this, Wayne amassing more Corruptors. Going almost pure Corruptor, actually. I feel like he already has enough, but yeah, you know, a couple more won't hurt. Invitation bits on the way for Wayne to get into Hive Tech, to get into Vipers, Spellcasters in general. What's our army looking like? Well, the Archons come in though, big shots. Oh, this is brutal. Massive Archon connections here. We clean up most of the mutas. That was not a good fight. That was a brutal trade here in favor of MaNa. Ay. That was what, 12 mutas going down, 4 Corruptors, and what did we really accomplish? We killed 1 carrier. Again, the Archons, they put in a lot of work. Speaking of, Corruptors setting up a counterattack. In between the bases, going for the Nexus. Yeah, MaNa not in position, and it looks like we're going to be losing the space. Nexus will go down. Wayne finally gaining value out of that Spire-based opener. With that, Wayne is backing off. He has maxed, bear that in mind. We've got Lings, we've got Banelings, we've got Queens waddling on in. Yeah, we're just collapsing this position. It's just a numbers game at this point. Initially, MaNa had a good fight, but he just doesn't have enough left over. Oh my god, the Corrupt, jeez, oh my god. The Archon volleys go ham on the Corruptors, and every single Corruptor goes down. And with the death of those Corruptors, can MaNa hold? He can barely hold on, but alas, we're still just remaxing behind this. Queens waddling forward. Ravagers are being targeted down. Now we can go for the Queens. These carriers. Like, MaNa's trading so well. If only he didn't lose the mineral line. If only this hadn't happened. 21 probes go down. MaNa's main army does hold, does clean up the forces of Wayne, but Wayne, he was able to kill workers towards the left-hand side. 22 probes. Also looking to deny the Nexus here on the right. Even though Wayne couldn't win in a head-to-head fight, doesn't matter because he is still pulling his opponent apart. Wayne gonna be pulling back prematurely. It does look like he was a little bit concerned that he would be losing his roaches, so a very mature decision here out of Wayne. Pulling back with what little he has. MaNa still just building up his carrier count. Viper on the way. How many Vipers do we have? 0 Vipers for now, but soon to be 1. Better than none. Ravagers are being morphed in, just add a little bit more complexity to this army, and here we go. Wayne pushing in once again for a 3rd time. Yeah, this time he has enough to shut down the Archons well ahead of time. And we should focus down the carriers. GG gets called. Wayne has done it. He breaks through, takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Wayne will take it in the end, shuts down his opponent, shuts down MaNa, and advances on to the quarterfinals to face off against Clem in a best of 3. GG. GG, well played. Again, congratulations to Wayne. He had a really strong start with his initial Bane bust. He was able to take a lead. It looked like maybe MaNa would be able to recover, but the problem is that he had just had so much to recover from. So much had to go MaNa's way to have a chance of coming back in that game, and a couple things were happening. You know, MaNa able to take advantage of a couple of situations, but still was not enough to win it all in the end. GG. GG, well played. And with that, we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for our next matchup.